Hey guys, who's ready to make some bread today? So first you're going to want to grab a bowl and your wooden spatula. I just prefer a wooden spoon because it kneads the dough better than most other kinds of spoons because it's so stiff, and I just find it easier. So then you're going to want to add 3 cups of flour to your bowl, and next we will go ahead and add 1/4 teaspoon of active dry yeast. I'll have a little bit more information about the dry yeast later on in the video. Next we're going to add a teaspoon of any kind of salt that you've got. I use Himalayan pink salt, and then we're going to mix our dry ingredients up so that they're combined really well. And lastly, we're going to add 1.5 cups of pretty warm water to the dry mixture, and we're going to stir it until it's fully combined. If it is too sticky, once it's all the way combined, you can always sprinkle in a little bit more flour. At some point you'll just know what the texture should be, but the reason I did this video is so that you can kind of see in the video what it's supposed to look like. So you'll actually see right here, I'm going to add a little bit more flour, and I'll just sprinkle it over the top and kind of mess with it with my fingers until it doesn't completely stick to my fingers when I'm kneading it. I probably added less than 1/4 cup total, but you really just have to do it by eye. But hopefully looking at this picture of the dough, this video, will help you see that it's really simple to kind of eyeball it. It doesn't need to be perfect. And then we will just cover it with a dish towel and set a timer for 3 hours. Then just go about your day. While we wait the next 3 hours, I just wanted to show you what I do with my yeast. This is active dry yeast. I buy it in a large package, and I'll put a picture of it on the screen. And it's really cheap to buy that way, then you don't have to buy the little packets. And I open it up and I dump the entire thing into a mason jar. I put 2 mason jar lids and then just do 1 ring. I label it. This one says active dry yeast 8/13/2021. The jar that I had before this was probably over 4 years old, and it still worked great, but it fell out of the freezer and shattered all over the floor. So we had to replace it, but that one was probably halfway full at that point, and it still lasted almost 4 years just to get it down to that point. You only need a tiny bit at a time usually, and then you just keep this in the freezer and pull it out whenever you need to use it, and put it in your bread dough, and then put it back in the freezer, and it's good to go for a long, long time. Hi, Miss Peanut. You're not supposed to be on the counter. Is she checking out the bread dough? Okay, fine. This is a loaf I made yesterday. So the loaf I'm making today, just to show you guys, I'm actually gonna put it in the freezer and try freezing it to see if thawing it out and using it later on is good. I've heard you can do that with sourdough, but I don't know about this recipe, so we're gonna try that out. But this is the loaf I made yesterday. I usually keep it in like a stasher bag, like a large one, or I like to use these compostable kitchen bags as well. And they last almost a week that way. We usually eat this pretty quickly so it doesn't go moldy or get too hard, but if it does get hard, you can always use it for croutons. And maybe at some point I can show you how to do that. But it's not as crunchy the second day, but it's still delicious, especially if you microwave it for like 20 seconds and put some butter on it just as a snack. It's delicious, but I'm gonna be using it as sandwich bread. All right, it's been 3 hours. Okay, I used this knife earlier for my other bread, so it looks dirty, but it's just bread. So you can cut it either way, it doesn't really matter. The crust is kind of hard to cut into. You want a really sharp knife. This isn't technically a bread knife, I don't think, but it works really well for this, so I just use it. I'm a big proponent of just using what works best for you. So you just want to get a good grasp on it. It's pretty hot still. It's a little bit easier to do once it cools. I'm just gonna cut the little edge off. The bottom part is like hardest to cut into. Sometimes you just have to peel it off because the bottom gets pretty crispy. But there you go. This is what it looks like. You know, it's super soft and fluffy, and slap a little butter on there or don't, and it's freaking amazing. So I'm gonna eat this now. Anyway, I use it for sandwich bread. It's really, really good. I'll make like chickpea salad, which I like mimic tuna salad with it, and I will fry them in butter on the stove, and that's like the best texture to me. They're really good if you cut them up and use them as toast. I'm gonna use this loaf and test out freezing it and see if that works. But yeah, sandwiches, fried sandwiches, toast. I bet it would be good if you like toasted it in the oven or toaster oven for dipping in soups. It's really great if you just like the next day microwave it for like 10 to 30 seconds with butter as a snack. You could use it as croutons if it goes a little stale. Lots of ways to use it. It just tastes so much better than store-bought bread.